Welcome back, everybody. My name is Tucker, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Jayson Tatum and the fact that this guy has taken his game to a completely new level over the last couple of weeks for the Boston Celtics and what it could mean for them moving forward as a team as well. But really quickly, if you enjoy the NBA and you like this type of content, then consider subscribing. We are on the road to 100K, hopefully in 2020. So consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. Okay, so Jayson Tatum is a guy that has always been a talked about player, right? Because we've seen flashes of a really great player, but we haven't necessarily seen the consistency. Going back to his rookie season, he was a good player during the regular season, but mostly played off of other guys. As long as the Celtics were healthy, he was shooting threes, he was attacking closeouts, doing a little bit of shot creation, but not a ton. But then as we got later in the season that year and Kyrie Irving went down with an injury, and then as we got more towards the playoffs, his shot creation opportunity definitely increased, and he really impressed as a rookie as that team made the Eastern Conference Finals, and he averaged over 18 points per game in the playoffs. And once we saw that, we saw playoff scoring at that level, at that efficiency from a rookie, we started to think, okay, this guy's probably a future star for the Celtics. But then last season rolled around, and unfortunately, it just didn't go the way any Celtics fans hoped that it would, the season as a whole, and especially Tatum's, because he definitely took a step back. His production increased a little bit because he got a little bit better, but his shot selection and his efficiency definitely took a step back. He took more long twos early in the shot clock, not as many threes. He wasn't getting to the rim as often, and overall, just wasn't a great season for him or for the Celtics, and people started to think, okay, maybe it was just a mirage. Maybe he's actually never going to be this guy that we thought he would be, after playing so well as a rookie in the postseason. And then we get to this year. In the beginning of the year, to be completely honest, it wasn't that much different than last year. Yes, the volume was going up, his production was going up, he was not taking as many shots in the mid-range, he was taking more threes, he was getting to the rim more, but he was still having some issues that he had throughout his career, not getting to the free throw line as much, and really just not finishing well at the rim. But now, this guy has put it all together and looks like a legit superstar for this team. His momentum has been kind of building over the last handful of weeks, but he is on a completely different level in his last 5 games, scoring more than 33 in 4 of his last 5 on crazy shooting efficiency. And overall, in January, he is averaging 30 points per game on 51% shooting in just 11 games, but still, that is an incredible jump in scoring and efficiency for this guy. And when you watch him play, he's doing all of the things that efficient, top-level primary scorers do in the NBA. He's getting to the rim a lot, he's getting to the line a lot, and he's shooting and making a ton of threes. And that is exactly what you want to see from someone that you think has the potential that a lot of people thought that he had, finally starting to put it all together. So what exactly has clicked for him that has allowed him to make this jump? Well, the at-rim finishing has always been this weird issue for him where he got to the rim a good amount, but for whatever reason when he got there, just wasn't really able to finish all that well, and it was kind of perplexing as to why a guy that's such a great athlete and is so skilled in a lot of other areas of the game couldn't finish at the rim. So he's put that together, and that has definitely improved. He's getting to the line more, which is a big deal. But I think the biggest thing in watching him is his handle is so much tighter. Before, you could see that he had moves, he had ways that he wanted to try and get shots off, but he couldn't really get exactly where he wanted to on the floor, and he would fumble the ball or he would lose it or guys would be able to poke it away, and it wasn't as clean and it wasn't as smooth. But right now, his handle is so strong, he's able to get wherever he wants on the court, and once he gets to his spots, if he's having a good shooting night, you're not going to be able to do a whole lot about it because of his length and his size and his athleticism, and then he's using his handle to get to the rim more as well and create on the perimeter, whether it's threes or in the mid-range. So he's really putting it all together right now with the at-rim finishing and the improvement with his handles. Now, we do need to see this for a longer period of time, right? It's 11 games in February, and it's the last couple that he's really looked like a legit star. But you can't really ask anything more from him right now since February has rolled around in terms of looking like a guy that is a legit future, like all-NBA caliber guy. And personally, I do think it's legit. It's not like he's just chucking shots. He's shooting on good efficiency. It passes the eye test when you watch him. He just looks more confident. And I don't know if it's just because, he's at All-Star Weekend and he was around all these other great players and playing in the All-Star game, and he's kind of realized that he's started to become, part of the upper echelon of the players in the NBA. I don't know what it is that's causing him to suddenly have this newfound confidence in February, but it's clearly the skill development and the improvement, like I said, in his handles and the at-rim finishing, and it's looking like he's going to be a huge piece of their future. Because as we get to kind of what this means moving forward for this team, this was kind of the only way that they could really have some kind of drastic improvement, because Kyrie left and Al Horford left, and yes, they brought in Kemba Walker, but coming into this season and throughout most of the year, it seemed like there was a pretty clear ceiling for this team. They had Tatum, they had Hayward, they had Brown, they had Kemba, they had some nice versatility and interchangeability, but they didn't necessarily have that guy that they needed, right? Or at least they didn't have two of them if you consider Kemba to be one of the top players in the entire league, right? So they didn't really have what they needed at the 5 spots, and they didn't seem to have enough star power, right? But if Jayson Tatum is suddenly going to be this all-NBA caliber player, and this guy that's going to be averaging 25 plus points per game on efficient shooting and going to be a good defender and a playmaker, that changes a lot of things for this team. Like, if he is suddenly now a star and a superstar, that not only makes them more legit championship contenders this season and finals contenders this season, but it changes the whole arc of them moving forward, because Jaylen Brown's going to continue to improve. You still have Marcus Smart, you have Kemba, you have Tatum at this whole new level, and you have the opportunity to still make a move. You have younger assets. Romeo Langford has looked like a good player. Marcus Smart could always be someone that you move. You have multiple other future firsts from other teams down the road that this team has still continued to stockpile, and that could get them an upgrade at the 5 spot or another nice perimeter player or whatever it is. Regardless, they have the opportunity to make another move to strengthen this roster, which was always the case, but it makes so much more sense to do now if Tatum is going to be this guy. And it honestly just completely changes what their future looks like over the next handful of seasons. He's going to be a max contract guy, it looks like, when he gets re-signed. They have Jaylen locked up for the next couple of years. Gordon Hayward's salary will be coming off relatively soon. You've got Kemba, and you can build something around this group that resembles potentially a championship contender, and it all is unlocked because of how well Jayson Tatum is playing and the fact that he is now like a borderline star/superstar. And this was really the only way for this to happen for this team, because, you know, they had some other moves they could make, they have the assets, but if Jayson Tatum or Jaylen Brown wasn't going to become, you know, one of the better wings in the entire league, then they're going to have a hard ceiling on this team, right? But this is such a game changer for them, and hopefully he sustains it, right? Like, it's very possible that we get a couple months from now, we get into the postseason and he struggles in the playoffs, right? Or this is just a hot shooting streak and it's not as sustainable as we're thinking it is, and then they're right back to where they were before he started this hot streak. But for me, I think it's legit. When you watch him play, like, if you just look at the stats, maybe it's easy to say, oh, he's having a really good shooting night. You know, he hit like 8 or 9 threes against Portland the other night. He's just shooting the ball well, which happens all the time, right? But I think when you watch him in terms of the creation, he's running in ball screens, he's running off screens, he's attacking the rim, he's getting threes off the catch. He's doing everything you would want from him, and I don't know what else he could show right now that would show anything other than him being a star and a superstar here moving forward. There's certainly improvement to be made. He can still get to the free throw line more. He can still be a better finisher at the rim. He can still clean up his shot chart a little bit, take more threes, get to the rim more, not do as much in the mid-range. But everything he's doing right now is a huge positive for this team. I am really interested to see how that translates in the playoffs, because, like I said, earlier on in his career as a rookie, he was a really good playoff player and a really good playoff scorer. And is he going to become like their number one guy in the playoffs? Because that was my concern about this team a little bit, is that Kemba, just because of his limited size, isn't going to be a super efficient playoff scorer. So they're going to need Tatum or Brown to be one of those guys. And is Jayson Tatum going to be the Celtics' number one scorer now in the playoffs, their primary guy? Probably, because he has that size, that athleticism, that length. He can get off difficult shots. He can score from anywhere. He can get wherever he wants to on the floor, and provides huge two-way value to the Celtics team. And I'm really excited to see how he continues to grow, because a lot of people, honestly, between last year and the beginning of this season, started to not necessarily give up on him as a player, but give up on this idea of him being this future all-NBA caliber guy that a lot of people thought that he would be after his rookie season. So it's nice to see him come back around to that a little bit and become a player that I think we all probably knew he could be, but now he's putting it all together. And I hope he continues this streak, because it adds so much more intrigue to the Eastern Conference playoffs. It adds another legit contender if he's playing like this, and I can't wait to see if he can sustain this throughout the rest of the year as well as in the playoffs, and see where he goes for the rest of his career. See what the Celtics try and do around this, making another move. They certainly have the assets to do so. They have the Memphis pick, and we're just going to see kind of what happens with this team. But this is the most important development of the Celtics season and the most promising development they could possibly hope for as it relates to their team both this season and in the future. And there you have it. That is going to be the end of today's video, and I thank you all very much for watching. Once again, my name is Tucker. If you missed any of my previous videos, then be sure to check out the boxes on screen. Thanks again, and I'll see you all next time.